What up, Broncos country? This is the Buckham Podcast. I'm your host, Michael. I'm with Braden today. Today, we are going to talk about the Denver Broncos versus the Houston Texans. Braden, just right off the bat, what do you think of when you hear that matchup?
I'm getting flashbacks. Last time we were on a 5-win streak and we faced the Houston Texans, it did not end well. So I'm getting flashbacks.
Right, and we're headed for that streak and on general. And there's if Texans are going to win, it's because of their defense. They have a defense just as tough as the Denver Broncos. There's a guy, Will Anderson Jr., who's just a wrecking ball, who's been double teamed. And how do you think we'll handle Will in this game?
I think I think a lot of people are gonna scoff when they hear this, but I'm not as scared of Will Anderson as other people are. The stat that the Broncos are the way the Broncos are gonna win this game is in the trenches. This offensive line, even when Ben Powers went out and we were scared, like, oh, how is this line gonna look? They've been getting it done. So is Will Anderson terrifying? Absolutely. But I think this offensive line is capable to standing up to the Texans defensive line.
Yeah, and you bring that up, and D'Amico Ryan, he's one of his things is gap integrity, so that's where they want to win it at. That's where they're going to try to win it at. They got a great front seven. I would say that's I think is I don't want to say equal to the Broncos, but a very competitive front seven. Um, I know we just seen the Denver Broncos offensive line versus the Dallas Cowboys defense. That man, like now I'm saying like, okay, now I know I rushed through for 400 yards. Like they're just that bad. Like so, you truly believe we're gonna win that in the trenches when it comes to that
I,
battle
I
there.
I do, and I think you're right. Do not look at the Cowboys game for if I think we're going to win it. Look at the Giants game. The Giants have one of the most impressive defensive lines in the league. You had Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and the only one that did anything was Brian Burns. So I truly think that yes, they can stand up to this Texans defensive line.
Yeah, so if if that's what that might they'll have to be good there in order to give us trouble, I believe. So I think that's a must win for the Texans. But you also got a secondary led by Stingley, who although Cortland has been get I guess I can say Cortland has been getting the best of him. Um, but he is good. I'm eager to see the matchup again. Again, if the Texans are going to win, they will have to win this matchup. How do you think that matchup goes?
Uh, Stingley versus Sutton.
Yeah,
I'm interested. I think it's an equal matchup. We've seen a lot of matchups of Sutton where we're like, oh, how's this going to look out? And Sutton's playing one of his best years of football, and it's kind of going unnoticed. I think Sutton has a good chance of being able to not outright beat Stingley, but beat Stingley when it matters.
yeah, and Sutton showed him his rookie year. Stingley took him one on one, and Sutton had 7 catches, 122 yards. And so I know these guys don't forget that stuff like that. So if this is the year, Stingley might step up, and I think that's one thing it'll also take the Texans in order to win. They'll have to eliminate Sutton from the game plan. I feel that's when the Broncos often struggles a little bit when they don't get him involved. So we'll see how that goes. And the other thing, my biggest concern is the turnovers. Is Bo Nix going to force something? Is Sean Payne okay with running the ball and letting these defensive teams go at it?
The turnovers can be a big problem. Bo has done a great job of bouncing back from the turnovers, but Bo is going to have to play a near perfect game for this to be, comfortable for the Broncos to win. I think the one thing that sets us apart from last year, besides, or not the year with Russell, besides the quarterback, is we now have a run game. So I think even with how insane that Texans defensive line is, having a run game is going to make it easier for Bo to get to who he wants.
Yeah, so like I say, I think with that run game, if we use it, we should have no problem getting guys open and getting Sutton open and stuff like that. Now, can you give me a few reasons why the Broncos are gonna win?
I can give you one, and it might be the best reason. Where the Broncos might have one of the best offensive lines, the Texans might have one of the worst offensive lines. The Texans did one of the strangest moves last year and took away their best set piece from that offensive line and just gave it to another team in Laramie Tunsil. So in a defense, everybody was like, "Oh, the Jets! You guys got 9 sacks on the Jets. Whoop-de-doo." There's a chance the Broncos could get 10 sacks on this team. CJ Stroud's not going to have a lot of time to look for the downfield options. Everybody looks at Nick Benito. Nick Benito's kind of the star name of this front line, but I think you're going to see a big game from Zach Allen. I think Zach Allen is going to feast on this interior. So I think the trenches is going to win this for the Broncos, both sides of the ball.
I 100% agree on that. I have watched a few Texans games, and let's just say their linemen, O line, they struggle on the stunts. I couldn't believe it. Like I'm like, this is some high school stuff that you guys are not able to cover. So I can only imagine what Vance Joseph is going to dial it up. What else do you got for us on that?
I think one thing that a lot of people don't mention is how good the run defense has been this year. Besides Jonathan Taylor, who, hot take or not, is my MVP so far, is really the only back to have had a game against us. So you're going to be able to cut Nick Chubb and Woody Marks out of the game, making it that much harder for CJ Stroud, who's already going to have a tough time with that pass rush.
Yeah, I do got a little concern for Woody Marks. I know the Greenlaw's coming back, so we're gonna get to see how that plays out and how that linebacker goes. But yeah, again, another matchup we win. I think.
Speaking of Greenlaw had a quote. Let me see if I can find it. That was very. Do you remember the Von Miller quote before the Cardinals game?
I do not.
So it was. I don't remember how long Von Miller was out, but he was out for, I want to say, 4 games, and he was going to come back against the Cardinals, and it was just, I want to beat the Cardinals, and that is what we did. It was a bad game to be an Arizona fan, and Greenlaw, who's coming off a an awful suspension. We've already talked about that, but Greenlaw, who's coming off that suspension, has been quoted, "Just whip the Texans' butt." That's all I can think of. I've been watching them all week. So I think Greenlaw is going to be locked in for this game.
It sounds like it. If that's the way he's approaching it, great athlete, super aggressive. I love it. You can tell he sees the game at a different speed. So I'm interested the impact he's going to make on this already great Broncos defense.
And we do have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Are we?
The
I did. Go ahead.
I think we have to. The guy that makes this defense is not going to play this game, and that is a worry.
No, I'll give you the reason why I'm not concerned. Normally, I would be super concerned, but our defensive line is so good that it lowers the amount of time they have to cover the receivers, and so I'm not too concerned about it because I'm like, okay, they're gonna either get a sack or the ball's coming out right away. You should understand. You should understand. Hence, it drives me crazy with Riley Moss is you should understand when you should turn around because these guys don't got time. That QB does not got time with our front,
No.
and so although Riley Moss is doing a good job, I don't want anybody to take this as a pick on Riley Moss, but I feel sometimes he's gonna turn around and knowing that the defense is already gonna get the QB. So I expect these guys to do good. I expect Cat to be okay. I expect we'll see Barron a little bit more.
I think you're
Like
gonna see Barron a lot on Dalton Schultz and Woody Marks or Nick Chubb, who's ever in the backfield for that part. Because Barron, a lot of the times we've seen Barron is on the tight end. We saw him at Dallas Goddard with that huge pass breakup in that final drive of the Eagles game. And then, if I'm not mistaken, that pick that Barron finally got, his first of hopefully many, was on Ferguson.
yeah, it's Ferguson. He got that interception, and so it's good to see that someone challenged him and he made a play. That's what I want to see from McMillan. That's what I want to see from Moss. I want to see from Cad is make a play. That's what's separating us from the 2015 defense, in my opinion, is we haven't been able to get any turnovers on the secondary like those guys used to be when they literally meant no fly zone about it. And I feel we're right there with that defense.
I think the Cowboys was a turning point for this defense because everybody, I don't want to, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's the Cowboys, be careful. For the offensive side, of course, because we've seen quarterbacks that have demolished the Cowboys and then gone on to look meh. But the Cowboys might have been the best offense, and that defense just shut them down. And
Yeah,
I think when you finally get the turnovers to come in, they're going to start rolling in. I think the Cowboys was the catalyst because we should have had three. Should have had three turnovers. That fumble, I don't know what happened with that fumble. Just thank God it didn't lead to anything, or I would not have been shutting up about it. But I think the turnovers are finally going to start coming in.
yeah, I'm hoping too. I feel like I say, I feel like the corners, they're always there. They just haven't really made a play, and so I'm waiting for them to make that play because that's going to take us to the next level. And we'll see if we can. These guys can work on little strip sacks to get that too, because that was one Vaughn special.
But honestly, it
So
was Von and Ware's specialty. It was just getting the ball out of them when they hit them.
yeah, so hopefully Cooper and these guys can kind of get working on that. Everybody's growing, everybody's getting better. Um, I know the trade deadline is coming up. I don't really feel we should make any moves other maybe than a backup offensive lineman, not even a starter, just a backup, just because we've lost our backups. Um, but at the same time, if there's nobody that fits the system, it might not be worth it. These guys have been coached up for a few months already. You might want to go what you roll with. But is there anything at this point that you would want the Broncos to do or think they should do?
I really think that, you know, center needs to be addressed because even against one of like the worst defenses in the league, I was seeing a lot of bummy snaps from Wattenberg. I think center needs, if you can, of course, address it. Like you said, it's going to be hard to find somebody that you like that fits the system at the trade deadline. But center, or like you said, maybe a backup lineman. I know a lot of people are going to want a tight end, and I've seen a lot of people like dragging the Broncos for signing Mercedes Lewis, but it was to the practice squad, and he's a blocking tight end, and that is kind of perfect for the team. You wanted a guy. I got a lot of flack for saying this. Evan Ingram is like Shannon Sharp in the way of he is not a traditional tight end. He is a receiver in a tight end's body. So if you get a tight end that can be that blocker for Ingram to then be that receiving type threat, that incredibly helps what we've been wanting from Ingram.
Yeah, that would work perfectly. And I think Mercedes fine in his role that he's going to do. He's like I say, he's a vet. He can block. It's break the glass just in case of an emergency kind of player.
Exactly, which we are kind of getting close to that because I believe it was not only Kroll, but I think Adkins is possibly dealing with an injury as well. So that's 2 out of 4 tight ends. So it's getting close to that break glass in case situation.
Yeah, right. Well, that's it for this week. You got anything else for us?
It the only thing I have is it better not end like it did last time.
Oh, there you go. What's your score prediction?
I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be sealed by a defensive play. I think it's going to be 31-28.
Okay. I'm going with a 24-14. I think the Broncos win. I think their defense plays great. I think we try to run the ball. We try to not make the mistake. I think Sean's not going to try to make the mistake. So I think we play just fundamental football, and if we catch the ball and execute the way we should, we still should be able to score. But I think it's just going to be very fundamental on the offensive side, just because our defense should dominate. Like you say, with that line, I'm looking like Swiss cheese. Like they're in for it. Like you say, Allen Franklin, like feast up. Like you guys are gonna have a game. Like
And even
so.
if you can't get to him in time, still give him a hit as long as it's not egregious. Get in his head.
Yep, they got their receivers are hurt, so um, we'll see what happens.
We'll
Well,
see what
thank you,
happens.
Bronco Country, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out our Twitter at Buckham Pod. I believe we're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Check it out and just subscribe and give us a follow, man. We appreciate it. I'm your host, Michael. Go ahead and exit yourself, Braden.
What do we say to the haters?
Buckham.
Fuck 'em. Have a great day, everybody.